Wayne Cameron again, continuing my video series on YouTube. Today I want to talk about something that's really kind of nebulous, but to be really musical player is something that you really have to consider. And I call it musical timing. Now what I mean by that has nothing to do with counting, it has nothing to do with the time signature, it has nothing to do with tempo. It's musical timing. And what I mean by that is every note that you play has a dramatic moment to sound. Timing. A good example of what I'm talking about is what makes a professional comedian funny is his timing. He knows when to tell the punchline. Now we can all tell jokes and we can all tell the punchline, but somebody with dramatic timing knows exactly when to tell the punchline. You can have two people tell the same joke, one can make it funny and the other can never make it funny because of timing. Great actors have great timing. They know when to say their lines. It's not that everybody can't say the lines. They know when to say the lines, and it's set up by who talked to them first. There's a dramatic moment for that to happen. In music, it's the same thing. The places that are really important about musical timing is at the end of phrases, how you may taper that off, when do you take a breath, when do you come back in. There's a dramatic moment, and it's very subtle, very subtle. How long do you hold a fermata? There's no rule on that. And every time you approach, even if it's the same piece, every time you approach that fermata, the musical timing for how long to hold it will change slightly according to the energy you had going into the fermata. There's a dramatic moment for you to go ahead. It's very subtle. If you listen to great players, and the people I listen to the most were opera singers, violinists, piano players, people like that, string quartets, who are dealing with real subtle things. You understand what I'm saying? So the musical timing is really important. Let's take an example, the Hummel Trumpet Concerto. At the end of the second movement, it says attacca, which means there's no break between the second movement and the third movement. But there is a space. Now that is a perfect example of when do you start the third movement. The trumpet player starts the third movement by himself. So how much energy is expelled by the accompaniment will dictate how long or how short that space is before you start the third movement. I've seen countless players in live performances between those movements stop, get the water out of their horn, take a sip of water. They've lost the dramatic moment. It's past. It's past. Do you understand what I'm saying? Then I've heard people who have a great sense of timing. They know exactly when to start that movement, and the audience is still sitting up, because the way the second movement ends, you hear that something's coming. And you have to sense that so that you know when to, so they don't lose that dramatic moment for the listener. It's a very subtle thing. You need to listen to great players play. Don't worry about how they play. Worry about why does that sound right. I have students who have great sense of musicality. And I always ask them when I give them a new piece to play, something simple usually, I said, come up with an interpretation. Come up with an interpretation of that. And they'll hopefully do something. So I then asked them, I said, how did you come up with that? And they said, it just sounded right. It just sounded right. And 9 out of 10 times, it's usually very musical. So again, musical timing, very important, has nothing to do with counting. It has to do with your innate musical sense. Have any questions again, let me know. I'll try to answer them. Thank you.